All right, we are hobby streaking on a Wednesday night, March 6th. Man, where to start? We're going to start here. Brother Sweet Chuck is done, but the question was asked by one of my more regulars, Mr. Randolph Thor himself. He asked where this model comes from, and it's not entirely one model. The body is entirely the ironclad dreadnought kit. However, the arms, I'm sure I got off eBay. And if I had to guess, I'd say they probably came from an eBay store called Black Dagger Games. And there was a time in my life where I was really into conversions. And, I had more free time and money. And so I did them. And so I could tell you that this fist and the handle comes from the Space Wolf dreadnought that has the shield and the axe. And I cut the axe off and I used the weapons from the ironclad kit to build the hammer. And then the power fist might have come from that same kit, and it might have come from something else. Again, I've bought individual bits off eBay at times. Also, it used to be way cheaper to buy bits on eBay. I was on an eBay bit store not too long ago, and the Warhammer hobby is clearly taken off because things are expensive. But Mr. Randolph Thor, if you're looking to buy this model in the store, you're not going to find him. But if you take the Ironclad Dreadnought, the Space Wolf Dreadnought, and, possibly another kit, you could build one just like this. But this is Brother Sweet Chuck, and he is done. He is not what we are hobby streaking on today. So, I'll talk about it as James Brown sings. I have my secret project. And I haven't talked about my secret project in a while because I haven't had a chance to work on it. And I haven't had a chance to work on it because of the hobby streak. I make it a point to hobby streak every night, and I make it a point to record it and just share my hobby with YouTube. One, because I don't have really a lot of time to make content for YouTube. And the other thing is I want, to share my hobby, and that's how I'm doing it. But the problem with having a secret project is you can't do the secret project on the hobby streak time that you're going to use that you're going to record and put on YouTube. And so I keep trying to put a day to the side. I'm going to get a day off someday, and then I'll do the secret project. Then I'm trying to find special time that's not part of my regular hobby time to work on the secret project, and it is just not happening. So I figured out how to get the secret project done. The way to get the secret project done is to make it not a secret anymore. And so what the secret project is, and the reason it was a secret, is because it is a gift for my executive producer, Brian Lord, who is my good friend and my muse. And I'm going to reveal the secret project right now because I intend to work on it this week and get it done and get it in the mail for my good friend rather than having it sit on my desk forever. And the secret project is here. This guy here, actually, I'm going to turn my light on. So this is the secret project, and this is what I'm going to work on this week. This is a Chaos Lord from the Fantasy Battles / Sigmar line, and he's awesome. And I got him a long time ago because he was awesome with no intention of doing anything with him. I just loved him. And then he sat for a while. And then I met executive producer Lord. And through knowing him, I found out that he plays some Black Legion. And so I decided I was going to paint this guy up and mail him to the executive producer as the Black Legion. And I made that decision a couple of years ago. And he's still not done. But we're going to get him done this week. We are going to finish this man and mail him off to the executive producer so he can join the Black Legion and do the bidding of Abaddon. And he's not officially in anything, but he could be a lord, he could be a sorcerer, he could be a master of executions. He could just sit on a desk. But he's what we're going to work on. And the first step, and maybe all I'm going to get done tonight, is the preparedness step, where it's time to get on YouTube, which is already going. We're not actually watching the Blues Brothers. It's just in the background. But we're going to get on YouTube and we're going to make sure that we know what colors we're using. And then we're going to get all those colors organized on the desk because preparedness is the thing. I know what I'm doing with everything except I don't know about the horns yet. And then my first thought with this, the reason it's got that stegodon scale green, my first thought was going to be obsidian, but I'm rethinking that because of the way it's so tall on the model that blade draws so much attention that maybe it should be brighter. Maybe it should pop with color. But we'll see. First, I'm gonna get on eBay and look up some existing knowledge and pick my colors out and get all prepared for hobby success for the week. Before I get going, I had to stop and admire Carrie Fisher. She'll be back on camera in a second. If I remember right, she's about to shoot a gun at them of some kind, but I remember being so in love with Carrie Fisher. I mean, I'm of that generation. I saw Star Wars movies in the theater, and look at her. Isn't she just the best? Anyway. All right, brothers, the plan is formed. This row of paints here, this big long row, is the skin for the demon flesh on that shoulder and that forearm. Also, I feel like I got to do something inside the mouth. I don't know what yet. But this comes from Games Workshop tutorial on demon flesh, like obliterator flesh. And there's lots of steps there, but it'll be worth it. And then this will be the skin. I want the skin tone very pale. The belt, the sheath. I don't know what I was thinking when I put this, like, pink on that sword sheath. Like, what do I know? And then, excuse me, the black for the armor, the gold for the armor, the red for the cape, the bones for the other miscellaneous horns and skulls. This gray will bring the rocks back up after I wash it. And I still have decisions to make about the horns and the blade on the lance and that little bag that's hanging off of his belt, but that could be anything. But this is the plan. A little piece of leather here too on the stick. I got to figure out, but that's the plan. This is the start. This is the beginning. I don't know if I'm actually painting anything tonight, but this is the beginning. All right, true believers. Welcome to Thursday. I'm watching Crimson Tide. I've been on a Gene Hackman kick lately since he died, and he's just the best. So we have my first base coats from, time being spent, but I need to focus and make the final decisions here. We're going to turn that pinkish purple sheath into brown leather, and I still have to make choices about the spear and the horns, but we're going to keep going, and we're going to start going. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that those base coats are nice and clean. Actually, if that's the case, I got to make these choices quick. I don't actually know what I'm doing here. But we're going to tidy up these base coats, and we're going to watch some Crimson Tide. I expect this to be awesome.
Look out. Clear the bridge. All right, sir. Officer to deck. Captain down. Captain is down.
The Farseer was talking to me about they make so many submarine movies because they're cheap to make. You build a small set, you got your whole movie right there. Anyway, on to Thursday Night Hobby Streak. Oh, I'm an irresponsible hobby streaker. It's after 4. I have to work in the morning, and I have a tax appointment tomorrow. I suck. And also, I didn't get as much done as I would have allotted to. I made the big hobby streak mistake. The biggest mistake you can make when you're hobby streaking is watching a good movie. You gotta watch bad movies. When you watch a good movie, you're inclined to sit and watch the movie. I'm going to turn my light on here. That's better. So I decided the horns are going to be the obsidian. And then I'm going to do a hot blade. And then, whenever, is he in focus? My eyes are so bad. Whenever I paint black, I never actually use black to paint black. But Black Legion are like black, like Abaddon black. And so that's a little intimidating. Because, like, to get depth, I'm going to have to do, like all the edge highlights. And, I got to figure out what I'm putting in the fiery mouth. And then I didn't touch the demon skin because I have I'm following the actual Warhammer tutorial for Obliterator Flesh, and that's what I'm doing there. And I did make the scabbard brown. I do have to go to bed though because, oh God, I'm so irresponsible. I'm the worst. I am just the worst. Yeah, I would really like to keep painting though. I would really like to put on another movie. See, like, work sucks because, like, work always makes me stop my life. Like, you know what I feel like? I feel like putting on a pot of coffee. Put on a pot of coffee, keep going. I'm in the mood. But, I gotta get some sleep so I can be a relative normal human tomorrow. Be semi-articulate at the tax appointment. And then I gotta work again the next day and the next day. Yeah, I'm up too late. So I do have to stop. Crimson Tide is pretty awesome. Very intense. G. Hackman's dope. Denzel Washington's pretty dope too. Intense movie. Nothing happy or fun in that movie at all. No women in the entire movie. Just a bunch of dudes on a submarine yelling at each other for like 90 minutes. But one of those yelling dudes was Gene Hackman, and he was yelling in a particular way that was charismatic and drew my attention away from my painting. But yeah, I gotta go to bed. That sucks. God, I don't want to go to bed. I gotta go to bed. All right, Hobby Streakers, good night. Thank you for being here. Good night. Friday night. I don't think I'm going to put too much in tonight because weekends are brutal. And I really, dude, my sin against my whole life is I don't get enough sleep, and it leads to bad health and bad attitudes. And but who's got time for all that sleeping? I'm supposed to sleep 8 hours every 24. To heck with that. But I think the most appropriate place to focus my attention on the early detail work is going to be all the armor. And so I'm using the Duncan Rhodes GW Black Legion armor tutorial. However, I don't have any Ashen Gray. And when I looked it up on the Deca paint chart, there's no substitute for Ashen Gray. It's like Ashen Gray or nothing. But I don't have any, so I'm going to use Skaven Blight Dinge and see how it looks. And if it's too bright, I'm going to knock it back with this heavy charcoal. But that's going to be a last step, and I don't think I'm going to get there tonight. I'm at the point where it's time to wash the armor with some Agrax Earthshade. And but also I'm not doing the demon skin yet either, which has some of the gold on it. But I'll do that when that step is appropriate. So yeah, we're gonna wash this armor. I gotta find something to watch. It might be a Deep Space Nine night because Deep Space Nine's the best show ever. I've changed my mind. I'm gonna put a wash on the gold, but at this step, I'm also gonna do the lance, the sword, and the cape. I'm not touching the demon flesh. Oh, I could do the horns on that demon though. But I'm not touching the demon flesh. I'm not touching the skin, the horns on his head, or the blade of his lance yet. But I'm going to wash everything else. So, homeboys, wet and glistening now. And I'm going to wait a half an hour for all that wet to dry, and then we'll keep going. I also put the Reikland Flesh Shade on the Demon Skin. And things are still wet, and it's been a long time. So I'm calling it a night. And I will get back to him tomorrow. It's Saturday night. And I can never do too much on Saturdays. But I gotta not break the hobby streak. So I'm gonna put a couple of dry brushes on these skulls and then call it a night. That's all I'm doing. Just a couple of dry brushes on the skulls, and it's bedtime. It is Sunday. It is just beautiful outside. Beautiful enough to varnish Brother Sweet Chuck. Now, Sweet Chuck is all wet and varnishy, but he's officially a part of the army. All done. So I sat down to work, and I made that same mistake again where I picked a good movie rather than just a movie. And I'm like an hour and a half in, and I have not picked up a paintbrush yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry brush the rocks down here, and then the next step on the armor is to dry brush Sigmarite on the gold. And so that's the step I'm at, and maybe I'll get started before the movie ends. But then I got to pick. I got to look out for bad movies. Do any of the old timers in the audience remember USA Up All Night? Those kind of movies. Maybe I'll look up USA Up All Night and see if there's like a list of their movies and just start watching those, because those movies were terrible, but they're exactly what I need. So I'm following the GW Black Legion armor tutorial, and they're like, final step is you dry brush it with Sigmarite. Sigmarite is, where is it? Sigmarite Dry. And I think I'm being a victim of advertising here, because I think what happened is they made that tutorial at the same time they wanted to push that Sigmarite. Because I got to tell you, I do not like it. I don't like it as a product. It got everywhere. It flecked dust everywhere. I have so much cleanup to do now. And then it didn't give me great color anywhere. I really didn't like the product. And I'm probably, after I clean up all that black, gonna hit some of that gold again with some either Liberator Gold or Auric Armor Gold, depending on, I gotta look at them and see how they look. But yeah, Sigmarite, maybe it's cool, but it's not for me. So after the Sigmarite, I had to go back over all the armor with Abaddon Black. And I think that Sigmarite just ended up being a huge step backwards. I didn't really like how it went on. And then there was so much cleanup to do that I put some smudges places I didn't want them. And those got to be fixed now. And I really wish I hadn't used the Sigmarite. I really wish I wouldn't have, because it set me backwards, and it was really discouraging. And I'm going to hang it up for the night. Tomorrow's a brand new day. We'll do more tomorrow. I had a bunch of black paint still out from doing the Abaddon Black, so I quick threw that all over the base and gave the base a nice solid black. But that's it for me. Now I'm going to bed. It's Monday night hobby time. The last time I worked in this guy, I was kind of disheartened with the Sigmarite. Kind of left me on a down note. And we're going to try to get back into that positive space. So I'm working on the cloak right now. I'm going to do the red, because I know how to do red. See that? Oh my God, I can't. Dude, anyway, we're going to fix up that cloak, make it look all nice, feel good about the project again. That's what we're doing. I'm sorry to be like a negative Nancy about it, but that Sigmarite got just everywhere. Can I even get close enough to see this? Like in the fold of the cape there, little flecks of gold. And like in the folds back here, little flecks of gold. And it's just everywhere. And like, I don't think I hit it that hard. And the downside is like where I actually meant to put it Doesn't look that good. And I'm like, dude, I'm bent. I'm a little bent. It's setting me back. And grr, mad face, grr. So I started going, and I started just like trying to work around it. And I just got really frustrated with all those gold flecks. So I took just a brush and put it in just my water. And I brushed a lot of this model down with just water and worked a ton of those gold flecks out of my paint job. And it took a long time. And now I'm waiting for Mr. Man to dry. But I'm like, come on, man. And really, hobby friends, my brothers, listen to me. Don't buy the Sigmarite. Where is it? This product here. This product sucks. This product is no good. I hate it. I wish it never was. So we're going to wait for him to dry and then tally-ho. All right, I spent some time on the cape and I'm still not happy with it. And then I got bored doing the cape, so I touched up the brown, the first brown, on the sword. I wouldn't have, on the scabbard, I should say. I wouldn't have, but I had so much of that Sigmarite flaked onto it, I had to. And then I hit the metal on the stick and on the belt with some iron breaker. And I'll have to go back to the cape at some point and just do more. Just do more. And yeah, he's not going to be done in a week, maybe 2, but it'll be fine. Really mad about that Sigmarite. Like, for a minute I thought it was time to strip him and start over, but we're going to push on through. You can see it mostly over here on where the demon skin's going to be. There's just it's just garbage. Just garbage. But I'm going to call it a night. That's what I did tonight. Not a great deal. Well, actually, it's hours. But it doesn't seem like I got that much done, though, because it was mostly spent on the cape. You see where there's the sculptor very smartly put that line there to show where the cape is draped over the sword. There's that edge there. I want that to show. But do I make that show by keeping it dark, or do I make that show by brightening it up? I don't know. Anyway, I'm calling it a night. We will sit down again tomorrow after tomorrow's day is over and hobby streak some more. But tonight I gotta be done. I'm gonna just be done. Good evening, true believers. Welcome to Tuesday night. Still plugging away at this guy. He's lots of little details. I really want to do a good job on him because he is for a loved one. Want to do a good job, and I've been having a hard time getting to the desk. The hobby street's been great because without it, I mean, doing the hobby street, I'm getting a lot done where I never want to. At the end of the night, I'm always so, sick of my day. But the hobby street means you got to do at least one thing every day. And then that one thing usually leads into a few. And so I've actually gotten quite a bit done, considering I have very little time to hobby. I assure you, my bills are paid, my chores are done, my loved ones have had my attention, but not a lot of time for hobby and YouTube. But I've been enjoying my hobby streak, so I'm going to keep going on my Tuesday night. And where am I at? I don't know. I think I'm going to do that belt, and then we still have a lot of cleanup from the Sigmarite, which has been the bane of this week. So I'm going to watch some Mickey 17, which I've heard is both good and bad. And we'll see what we can do. We're going to do that belt. I'm still not pleased with the cape. I got a lot more work to do on the cape. And anyway, tally-ho. So here's where I'm at. Here is what I've just done. I did some work on the belt. Just gave that a little bit of highlight. I put some Bugman's Glow back on the demon flesh here and here, and that was to cover up the last of the Sigmarite disaster. And now I'm looking at, can I get that to focus, the mouth. And I do not want to leave the inside of that mouth just blank. So here's the plan. I'm going to hit it with some Gray Seer, then some Screaming Skull, and then some Dead White. And then I'm going to put that same Dead White in the eyes and in his eyes. And then tomorrow, before I go to work, I'm going to go to Ryder's Hobby Shop, the best hobby store around, and buy some Tesseract Glow, which is like the glowing green paint that you put over white and it looks all bright. I've never actually used it before, but I'm going to get some of that, and I'm going to make the eyes bright green, and then like bright green warp energies in the mouth. And am I still going red on the blade then? Maybe I go green blade, or maybe I go red eyes and mouth, but I already have that red cape. Maybe I go green blade too. I don't know, true believers. I don't know. But anyway, back to it. So I filled his mouth with Wraithbone, not Gray Seer. And then I put another Agrax wash on the top teeth because I want a nice clear definition there. And then around his collar, where his neck meets the armor, some of the Reichland, Ricard flesh. Some of the Ricard flesh had gotten in spots I didn't want it. And so I didn't want to go in there and try to touch it up with Abaddon Black. So I hit it with Nuln Oil, and it seems to be working out. I'm going to get the white out, the Dead White, and I'm going to put some in the center of the mouth, try to give it, a brighter spot in the middle. Going to put that in the eyes, and then I don't know where I'm at. After that, I think I might go back to the armor. That little bag there, well, I'm just going to, hit with some kind of contrast paint at some point. Yeah, white, armor. Yeah, I could do that bone on the horns, too. I could go back to the cape, too. I could work on that cape for the rest of my life and never be happy with it. But, slow and steady is winning my race. Hobby streaking. So, I've finished Mickey 17. It was, it was fine. I want more from my science fiction. I liked that it was lighthearted. I loved the bug, elephant, alien, monster things. They were great. I thought the world building of it all was just fine. But I want more from my science fiction. And I guess what I mean is, so the part that bothers me about it is the villain of the story, the politician, is clearly a Donald Trump caricature. They were not subtle about it. It was right on your nose. This guy is supposed to be Donald Trump. They had him do the hand job dance at one point, and his followers had the red hats, and then the actor, the Hulk, he's hamming it up being Donald Trump. And I'm like, why? So first of all, like, say you legit got something to say, right? You're late. Dude, you're late to the party. Like, seriously, dude, it's 2025. Where you been? Secondly, I'm watching movies. I got enough Donald Trump in my life. He's everywhere. He's on all the screens. He's in my social media everywhere. I can't get away from him. And I don't want him don't just throw him in my science fiction movie. I'm watching a science fiction movie. It's escapism. And hey, look, it's more Donald Trump in your fucking life, man. And come on. I didn't need Donald Trump in my sci-fi movie. And whatever point you were trying to make, it was ham-fisted and weak. And Like what? At the end, he has the dream where. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I'm spoiling a movie. At the end, he has the dream where Donald Trump is printed over again, and oh, who's the next evil person coming? I mean, is that it? Was that the whole point? Because I want more from my science fiction. I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek a lot, and I know the kids aren't so into Star Trek nowadays, but I really like Star Trek. And Star Trek, you have the conflict of the day. And at the end of the episode, there may be some violence, and the violence is always very silly because the violence is not the point. They just want to show that there was violence to make sure that there's drama. But when the conflict is finally resolved, like somebody gives a speech, we're going to learn something together. There was a point, there was a moral, there was a message, and I'm not seeing that too much in my modern movies. I know horror movies are getting it right. I know horror movies are very poignant, but I don't have the stomach for a lot of horror movies anymore. I cannot stand anything trying to depict real world violence, real world suffering. If someone's getting like abused or assaulted or tortured in some way and there's like a good actor playing the victim, I want nothing to do with that. So I don't want to be like movies aren't hitting it, but Mickey 17 didn't hit it. Like Donald Trump is bad, yes, we know that. Your movie was fun and funny, but I kept getting distracted trying to figure out what this political message you're trying to throw at me was, and I never quite got it. However, what did happen is I did end up getting some work done. And he's still not perfect. I know he's a work in progress. He is totally a work in progress. I have to shout out all the Chaos Space Marine players because this trim is brutal. I can't believe you paint this trim on every dude in your army. Like regular Buster Legionnaire, he's got trim all over him. Raptors, trim all over him. Every character, trim all over him. And like, I am really struggling getting this trim nice, right? I'm struggling with the whole model. Like or maybe it's just that I want so badly to do a good job. But I am struggling with him, and I'm hanging it up for the night. I watched a whole long ass movie, and I'm trying to be a guy who actually sleeps sometimes. Um, who needs sleep, right? But yeah, I'm gonna hang him up for the night. What have I done? The bag there, I cleaned that up a little bit. I think I'm gonna hit it with some Guillemot Flesh contrast paint, and hope that's good enough. I did the belt tonight. That was one of my first steps. Also like this pointy knee here. I keep chipping the paint off of it. What else have I done? The white, and I did a little bit of work on the cape, and I did a little bit of work on the scabbard, and I did a little bit of work all over the armor, but like I keep making mistakes that I have to go back and fix. I started on the bone of the horn there, and then kind of flubbed it on the other side, so I had to hit it with a wash again to go back over. The next time I sit down, I have to get into my internet tutorials. I'm using the Games Workshop Demon Flesh for those demon fleshy bits, and then a Raven Guard skin tutorial for his face, and the Obsidian tutorial for his horns. And then I thought I was just going to do my red to yellow blade like I do on the Star Hunters, but if I'm putting green in his mouth and green in his eyes, maybe that blade needs to be green too, but also maybe his eyes gotta be green too, but his eyes are real small. Like I might not even paint his eyes. But anyway, I'm hanging it up for the night. It's Tuesday, so this is the last of this week's hobby streak. See me next week, where it'll be tomorrow for me, and I'll be working on this guy some more. But hobby streaking's been real good for me because I often don't want to. I often want to go to bed or, sit and smoke my bowl and watch my movie and not actually paint. But the hobby streak keeps me going. Just one thing a day turns into legitimate progress. And my goal was to get all the active projects off of my desk. And I have. Like, what do I got left over here? I got some stuff my kids need me to glue together. Then I got my kill team, and the drop pod's almost done, and Graz cools. And I don't know if you'll see in like older videos, but there used to be like just a pile of stuff on this desk, and we're getting there. So hobby streaking's been good for me. But I'm turning it off. I'm going to bed. Much love, my friends. Good night.